College football is unforgiving. And I know the transfer portal and NIL might drive some of you crazy, but let's be real. They've brought parity we haven't seen in decades. Week 2 proved that. It gave us upsets, heavyweight brawls, and a rivalry throwback that lived up to the billing. This is why we wake up before sunrise on Saturdays. So listen, let's dive into the madness, starting with the cowbells and pitchforks in Starkville before closing it out with a statement win down in Tornado Alley. Mississippi State pulled off one of those remember where you were moments, taking down the number 12 Arizona State 24-20. The crazy part, it looked like they were about to blow it. MSU owned the first half, and then they lost momentum in the second. And then, boom, Blake Sharpen uncorks a 58-yard bomb to Brendan Thompson with 30 seconds left. That's the type of play that lives in the highlight reels forever. Sharpen was locked in all night. 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. And Thompson, he was everywhere. 6 grabs, 133 yards, and 2 scores. Now, Arizona State actually ran the ball really well with Raleek Brown and Kanye Udo. Both went over 100 yards. But their quarterback, Sam Levitt, my man just never got going. 82 yards and 2 picks isn't going to cut it on the road in the SEC. Jeff Levy deserves his flowers for staying aggressive late. Meanwhile, Kenny Dillingham, he blinked in the red zone, kicking a field goal when it was obvious his team desperately needed a touchdown. That's how you let a road win slip away. And now, Mississippi State suddenly looks like a dark horse SEC problem, while Arizona State, the playoff talk is about to halt. And while Starkville was storming the field, the HBCU world was putting on an absolute show of its own. If you like offense, this the one right here. Alabama A&M beats Alcorn State 41-31, and it was basically the Cornelius Brown IV show. The guy accounted for 5 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. He was calm, composed, and every time Alcorn got close, he had an answer. The turning point came in the 4th. Alcorn cut it to 4 with this long, grinding drive. And I thought the momentum was shifting. But A&M's defense, they said, hold on, player. That ain't happening. And then Brown marched them down, and they punched in the game sealer. That was it. Sam Shea, first-year head coach, he played it perfectly. Mixed the run, pass, trusted his quarterback, and chewed up clock. On the other sideline, Alcorn's gamble on 4th down didn't pay off, and that was the dagger. And listen, the football was great, but the culture, even better. Marching maroon and white debuted a fresh intro. Sounds of Dynamite had the visitor side rocking, and the whole stadium was alive. It wasn't just a game. It was a celebration. And that's what makes HBCU football so special. From Huntsville to Mobile, Tulane almost learned the hard way what happens when you let a hungry Sunbelt team hang around. Tulane survives 33-31. But man, let South Alabama make this way scarier than it needed to be. The Wave were cruising. They were up 16 in the 4th. And then suddenly, they're clinging on to a 2-point lead in the final minute. The Jags scored late. They lined up for 2. And you can feel the stadium holding its breath. And then they missed it. Tulane recovers the onside. And that's the game. Relief for Tulane and a little bit of heartbreak for South Alabama. Zuberi Mobley kept Tulane's run game steady with 2 touchdowns. And Jake Retzlaff, he chipped in with a couple scores himself, but the story, it was about Bishop Davenport and Devin Voisin. Davenport accounted for 3 touchdowns, and Voisin put up 152 yards with 2 scores. That combo, it almost wrecked Tulane's night. John Summerall leaned on that run to chew clock, but it backfired when the defense bent late. South Alabama did everything right on that last drive, except the one play that mattered the most, the 2-point conversion. That'll eat at them. Bottom line, Tulane is 2-0 and still in the New Year's Six race, but they've got to clean it up. Meanwhile, in Iowa, we got exactly what we expect. Defense, grit, and another Cyhawk finish down to the wire. Iowa State takes it 16-13. And if this feels familiar, it's because it is. For the second straight year, Cal Conrady hits the game winner against the Hawkeyes. This time from 54 yards out. Talk about deja vu heartbreak for Iowa. Rocco Beck didn't have a Heisman performance. He did just enough. Threw the long touchdown and managed that late drive. And once again, the defense carried the load. Jeremiah Cooper's pick set up their score. And the rest, it was camaraderie's leg. Iowa had their chances. Mark Gronkowski ran in one, but through the air, it was rough. 83 yards and no rhythm. Kirk Ferentz, he had a conservative approach, which I'm not agreeing with. But meanwhile, Matt Campbell, he trusted his defense and his kicker, and it paid off. Iowa State's now 3-0 with the rivalry win that makes their playoff resume look a little stronger. Iowa, same old story. Defense is there, offense ain't. But if you thought that was tense, buckle up, because Baylor and SMU gave us a straight roller coaster in Dallas. This was chaos with the capital C. Baylor stuns number 17 SMU 48-45 in double overtime. Honestly, one of the best games of the weekend. Baylor was dead in the water, down 14 with 8 minutes left. Then Sawyer Robinson goes full video game mode, leads a 72-yard drive, defense gets a stop, and he ties it with under a minute left. Overtime was madness. But in the second OT, Baylor's defense finally held up, setting up the walk-off field goal. Robertson was unreal. 440 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He made every big throw late. And his receivers, John Cameron and Ashton Hawkins, were unstoppable. SMU did have their moments, but they choked on the detail. 2 missed field goals, stalled drives, and that was when it mattered the most. Dave Aranda deserves huge credit. He adjusted late, pushed the tempo, and trusted his defense to get one stop. That's exactly how they stole it. SMU dropping this one stings because they had top 20 momentum. Baylor, they just flipped the Big 12 script in one night. And if you think that was wild, nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing. Top what happened in Gainesville. This is the upset of the weekend. South Florida goes into the swamp and stuns number 13 Florida, 18-16. Back-to-back wins over ranked teams for USF. Folks, the Bulls are officially for real. Here's how it went down. Florida shot themselves in the foot all night. 11 penalties, 103 yards off of those, and 2 touchdowns called back because of flags. Then, with the game on the line, USF drove the ball 87 yards in the final minutes. Nico Grammatica drills the walk-off field goal, and there was silence in Gainesville. Byron Brown was cool as ice, throwing for 263 yards and leading that final drive. On the other side, DJ Lagway flashed talent, but he made a brutal pick and couldn't finish when it mattered. And let's be real. This loss is on Billy Napier. Late play calling was questionable. The team looked undisciplined, and those penalties were killers. Florida had every chance to win, but they let it slip. For Florida, this isn't just a loss. It's a gut punch to their playoff hopes, and maybe even Napier's job security. For USF, they've gone from the cute group of 5 team to a legitimate contender for a New Year's Six bowl. And finally, the game everybody had circled. Oklahoma versus Michigan, a top 20 clash with playoff vibes. Oklahoma beats Michigan 24-13. And this one felt like a statement. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't high scoring, but it was physical, efficient, and controlled by the Sooners from start to finish. The turning point came late in the first half. John Mateer leads an 80-yard drive and capped it off with a rushing touchdown. And suddenly, Oklahoma's up 14-0 at the half. Michigan tried to punch back. Justice Haynes, he ripped off a 75-yarder to open the third. But outside of that run, they just couldn't find rhythm. Mateer was the difference. He threw for 270, ran for 74, and scored 3 total touchdowns. Every time Oklahoma needed a play, he delivered. Michigan's freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood, my man had a rough night. 9 of 24. He just couldn't handle the pressure, and the Sooners defense ate him alive. Brent Venables coached the masterpiece. Balanced offense, suffocating defense, and smart possession football. Michigan had one playmaker in Haynes, but they were outmatched everywhere else. The numbers tell the story. Oklahoma outgained Michigan 408-288 in own time of possession. That's playoff football. Now, Oklahoma's 2-0 with a marquee win that puts them firmly in the CFP conversation. Michigan, they've got talent at quarterback, but he's just not ready yet. If they don't figure it out, the Big Ten grind is going to chew them up. If week 2 taught us anything, it taught us that nobody is safe. Upsets, rivalries, playoff shakeups. Listen, man, it's only September. So here's the deal. Hit that subscribe button right now because the chaos is only going to get louder. And you don't want to be the one catching a Coach Pro breakdown 2 days late, like the video if your team pulled through. And if they didn't, go ahead and vent in the comments. We're family. We listen. We don't judge. And when you're done, I've got a question for you. Which conference is looking better right now? The SEC or the Big Ten? Go watch my SEC and Big Ten tier videos and then come back and tell me in the comments where I nailed it and where I got it completely wrong.